Hi everybody, welcome to Conservative Lady Talk. My name is Percy, and I first and foremost would love to apologize for pretty much going MIA. I've just been dealing with a lot of shit on my plate. It's just been really rough in general, but everything's getting better, so that's what matters. Today I'm going to be doing my video on a kid named Kevin Peterson Jr., who, if you guys are not familiar with the Vancouver, Washington area, it's pretty much North Portland. But a teeny tiny bit more conservative is probably the best way to put that. Like, if you say Vancouver, everyone assumes Canada. So basically, when I lived there, I used to just say it was North Portland. Um, Speaking of, living there at one point, I went to a school called Union High School, along with many, many other high schools, and I also went to East Middle School. Well, this plays into play because there's a kid named Kevin Peterson Jr. Kevin Peterson Jr. recently was shot and killed by officers during a drug raid with the DEA. So that kind of goes to show you a little bit of the shit he was involved with. So Kevin was a 21-year-old African-American male who was responsible for possibly the deaths of a ton of people and the death of one of my good friends from an OD, because everybody knew that she didn't do drugs, and he pretty much just handed her drugs when she was suicidal, which led to her overdose and suicide. So I hold him responsible for that, and I always will, because it is his fault. Overall, when he was getting caught by Vancouver Police Department drug task force, sorry, my cat's like all over the place, but when he was about to be arrested by the task force for drugs in Vancouver, Washington, he screamed at a cop and was going to tell the cop that he was going to kill him, and then reached into his pockets while running. I'm sorry. I don't care if you're black, white, Asian, or Hispanic. If you tell an officer that you're going to kill him and then reach into your fucking pocket, you deserve to die. And I know that's a bit harsh, but again, Kevin was also a piece of shit. Not just to my friend being responsible for, that suicide. He also beat me up a few times throughout school, throughout the years that I knew him, for being gay and for having an interest in women. So, that being said, he's a homophobe, he's a drug dealer, he's a murderer, he assisted in a suicide, he was being looked at by the DEA, which is the Drug Enforcement Agency, and yeah, I think the DEA is bullshit, but if you're being looked at by the DEA, you've obviously done something really fucking wrong. He was also being looked at by the ATF, according to some of his more close friends who I have mutual contact with. So, that being said, he was being looked at by federal enforcement officers. You don't get looked at by federal enforcement officers unless you're doing shit that's against federal laws. And trust me, I have said some shit that, I'm surprised Homeland Security hasn't pulled up into my yard. I'm surprised that, the feds actually do anything sometimes. But, that goes to show that he was obviously doing shit that was severely illegal. I mean, the ATF doesn't just, usually go after people. I mean, Waco was a really bad example of that, and I feel awful for those people. But, those were innocent, just God-loving people. Kevin Peterson was a piece of shit who used God as a cover on Sundays when he went to church after partying all weekend and assisting in deaths. And I'm sorry, I'm going to keep saying it like that, because if you're a drug dealer, you're probably responsible for at least one death. And that's just a sad fact, But Kevin was a piece of shit. He used to call me a faggot. He'd make fun of me. At one point, he tried to start a fist fight with me in the hallway, because he wanted me to call him the N-word, and I refused to. And I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm pretty fucking white, and I'm not stupid enough to say shit like that, for one. Two, I'm not a fucking racist, so why would I ever say that? And especially in high school, where I was a way, way, way more sensitive about what I said. I was a little bit more sensitive about it, at least. But Kevin was a piece of shit, and the only people I feel bad in that situation is his family and the fact that he had a child. Those are the people I feel bad for. I don't feel bad that Kevin died. Kevin was a piece of shit. Kevin got what was coming to him. And I'm not just saying that because I have an angry vengeance from high school. I'm saying that because if you tell a cop you're going to kill him and reach into your pocket, you deserve what's happened. You deserve exactly what's going on. And last night, his vigil actually ended up turning into pretty much a bloodbath, where somebody that I am, I guess, mutually acquainted with through a friend is a good way to put that, mutually acquainted with, actually got assaulted there. Had a rock chucked at him. Also, there were people who were Trump supporters that did try to go to show respect for Kevin and respect for his family just as a community thing. And, you know, of course, because they had been labeled as white supremacists or yada, 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 like I have been, they were also attacked. And it busted out into a full fucking riot from, according to the video, it looks a bit like Esther Shore Park. Which, if you guys are familiar with Vancouver, that's in the downtown area, closer to the river. You know, it was overall bullshit. And the whole thing I really want to get from this is you guys need to stop martyring people who were shitty human beings. I don't care that he beat me up in high school. Like, yeah, that really fucked my head up, and it really, really made me uncomfortable being an openly gay human being. Like, that was hard for me to accept to begin with, and it was even harder when I had people hating me for something I couldn't control. So, that's that. That's all I have to say. Kevin's a piece of shit. He was going to be arrested eventually by the feds, so he got what was coming to him, for one, and two, don't reach in your pocket after telling a cop you're going to kill him. Just actually skip the whole middleman. Just don't tell a cop that you're going to kill him. Like, I'm sorry, that's why I don't feel bad. I would feel more bad if he was an actual innocent black person that was just taking off from the cops out of fear of dealing with cops, because I get it. When I have to deal with cops, like when I am in a car that gets pulled over, I shake. And I get it. And it's not because I'm afraid of cops, it's just I am afraid of the whole idea of dealing with somebody who has, you know, more power, I guess. I have a power structure issue. But, you know, like, I get being scared. I get why some people take off. That's not an excuse to kill. I get that. But he threatened a cop. He's a piece of shit. He got what was coming to him. And to the Peterson family and to his daughter and his girlfriend, I am so sorry for what you guys have to go through. You guys did not deserve this shit. And, you know, unfortunately, this is just a learning lesson that a lot of us shouldn't have to face. So I am sorry to you guys. But I'm not sorry for Kevin's death. And nor am I responsible for it. So, in all honesty, I'm sorry, guys. But Kevin was a piece of shit who got what was coming to him. Thank you, and thank you for coming into today's Conservative Lady Talk. As always, a lot of things that I said are actually in many police reports, and I will also be linking a picture that was from his vigil from last night, and maybe some Twitter videos. I'll definitely leave Black Rebel, a man who was assaulted, at that. I'll leave his Twitter down below so you can see the videos of him getting assaulted and all of that. Thank you guys for coming to my video for today, and have a great week. Bye.